Ladies and gentlemen, in this Red Gaming Technical video, we're going to be further clarifying the recent comments from Albert Penello, who is, of course, a Microsoft executive. He recently said that the discrepancies in the power of both the Xbox One, in other words, the system specifications, are meaningless. And since then, he's given another set of quotes in an interview to clarify his position. So let's jump right in. Now, I do have a bit of a cold as well as hay fever, so I'm not going to be 100% on this video, guys, so I can only apologise, so hopefully you can understand me okay, I'm not too snuffly. Right, the exact quote was, "I appreciate those who understand the point I was trying to get across. It's always hard after sitting doing interviews all day, and you're trying to have an engaging conversation with someone, and the words get pulled out of our tone, what we're trying to say, didn't come out how I meant it. You should also understand that this interview was done only after our launch event and prior to E3, so please take that also into consideration. I'm not diminishing Sony's performance claims, and I wasn't trying to be arrogant or dismissive. What I was trying to say is I'm not Sony engineering team, so I can't comment on what they have published as specs. I know what our teams are doing, and I know how they thought about the architecturing the system. The guys who are building these machines on both sides are unbelievably talented and experts in the field. Nobody knows the specifics on how the machines are architected, or if they may have bottlenecks in one system or accelerators in another that change the impacts of the published specs. What I believe is that our games are going to be great and they're going to look next gen, and I think E3 sort of showed that, and great games are what matters. And while you guys joke about the cloud stuff, I think the stuff that Respawn guys have said starts to clear up what we've been talking about, the cloud performance. Cue the "have you seen Titanfall" memes. Games on both systems looked awesome. I was there. And while I know that Rise took a hit on our gameplay that was shown, I thought it was the most next-generation looking game I saw on either platform. Of course, I get unbiased and I didn't have time to see everything. As always, I love taking the hits, and I appreciate that while the words I used were probably came under some scrutiny, I do appreciate that some of you get what I was trying to say." End quote. I actually, funnily enough, got a couple of messages regarding this, and people said that maybe I was a bit harsh on the guy, and perhaps I was to a degree, but the problem is, sometimes it's better just to keep your mouth shut. Sometimes it's better just not say anything regarding the issue. And I think one of the reasons people were very critical of him is that you're trying to say that specifications don't matter, but, you know, the games are the most important. But the thing is, the technical specifications that people are seeing are pretty black and white. As for the accelerators and various other bottlenecks, I'll agree with that. However, we do know, for example, that the Xbox One, and he's probably speaking about the move engines on the Xbox One, are there to help move a lot of data around. The thing of it is, though, I don't think I've ever seen a console generation where some debate over which system performs better hasn't been there. I mean, I'm talking about 16-bit, 32-bit, PlayStation 2, every generation. Xbox 360 and PS3 was probably the fiercest, simply because how close they were together in terms of their specs. But now, of course, the PS4 and Xbox One, it's probably even more fierce, to be honest. And honestly speaking, I think it's just a case of people like to talk about this stuff. People want to know about this stuff, and I don't even think that people care about it from a gaming perspective, because after all, does it really matter to you how powerful the other machine is that you don't own? Probably not in most instances, but I think people want to know which system is going to give them the most next generation looking game, and more to the point, which titles are going to look best when they're cross-platform. Bottom line is, people love to guess this stuff, people love to work this stuff out, and it's one of the things that actually helped sell a console. The problem is that by saying that, you know, the numbers are meaningless, people don't really buy that, and so obviously people got a bit upset with it, and I can understand that maybe the quote was taken somewhat out of context, and so on and so on. The problem is Microsoft seem to have this thing where they recently seem to step on gamers' toes pretty consistently, actually, which is obviously bad news from them. And many people have put doubts as well on exactly what the performance of the Xbox One and PS4 have. Of course, he does have some points in terms of the bottlenecks, and honestly speaking, we're still guessing about a lot of stuff here. We still don't know about the overheads for the operating systems for either the Xbox or the PS4. We don't know about the actual real clock speeds yet. We have ideas. We don't know how many GPUs, for example, are going to be available for games. GCN cores are going to be available for games, because right now a lot of that's still up in the air, because maybe, for example, the PS4 needs some of those to help move around data. That's unknown. CPU cores, same thing. Just how many are allocated towards system functionality. And even little issues such as DDR3 memory versus GDDR5 RAM, which is better in terms of certain tasks, because of obviously latency comes into play and so on. And to be honest with you, we could argue about this stuff until the cows come home, but that's what actually makes consoles, before they were released, fun. The debate of which system has better games, the debate which system has the better online functionality, and so on and so on. It helps kind of bring some excitement into the whole thing, because obviously everyone's really itching right now to get their actual hands on a PS4 or Xbox One, because, well, we don't, we can't really do so. And sure, there were some games maybe playable at E3 or whatever, and of course soon there'll be like demo booths available maybe around the country, but realistically most people simply don't really know how the games actually play. And I actually quite like the whole idea of the whole debate. My personal thoughts, however, is that I think it's actually quite cool to debate this stuff, and yes, I agree, there are definitely most likely secrets in the hardware that we won't know about yet, but the thing of it is, I actually think that a lot of the stuff that was leaked in terms of the specifications anyway, are most likely fairly accurate. And so, sure, there may be one or two things hidden here or there, but I think we can get a pretty good idea. I just wish both manufacturers would be more open about the actual clock speeds and so on. As I said, there are still some discrepancies out there, but I suppose we'll get a handle on that pretty quickly anyway. With all of that said, however, I do think that Microsoft maybe are getting a bit of a short end of the stick right now, and I don't think that's 100% fair. Obviously they're really pushing this whole cloud-based solution. We're not really sure, sorry guys, that's my phone going off, what's happening with the PlayStation's cloud yet, which is kind of annoying. I wish there'd be more forthright. Honestly speaking, however, I have some reservations about the Xbox One cloud for certain things, but I think for others it's going to be really awesome. So I guess it's just a waiting game right now. Regardless, I think it's really fun to do these debates, and sure, I think another issue, although he hasn't really said it, but a lot of the people that do debate this stuff don't exactly know what they're talking about. For example, a lot of the viewers who watch this channel, they do know what they're talking about. Sometimes you guys actually spot stuff that I've missed, because, let's face it, I'm only one man, and so sometimes there's stories that I miss. Sometimes I may have missed a bit of information out. Sometimes I might have gotten something wrong because I just didn't have all the information at the time, or maybe I miscalculated something, or whatever. I'm not perfect, and therefore sometimes you guys do pull me up on it and say, you know what, dude, here's some information, which is cool. But my point being that a lot of you do know about stuff. Now, I'm not saying that all of you maybe are system engineers, but regardless, you have a fair idea of, say, what a graphics card is, or this or that. The problem is, a lot of people who do debate this stuff, they don't know this stuff. That's the problem, and that's where the issue becomes, yeah, my PlayStation 2 is more powerful than the Xbox 360, yuck, yuck, yuck. It's just, that's just rubbish, and he's right, that debate just doesn't really mean anything, but I think sometimes it's all part of the good fun of consoles. Anyway, guys, hopefully you've been able to understand me on this video really stuffily. Can't really do much about it, unfortunately. I managed to get the hay fever and a cold at once. Aren't I lucky? I feel like I've struck rich, I tell you. Anyway, I think that's just about it for this particular video. Hopefully I'll see you soon, and bye for now.